Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope you're doing fabulous. My name is Scott Mendenhall. Welcome to Unlock Church Online, where you don't know what could happen because today all the tech is being done by teenagers. I'm joined by the one and only Holly Mendenhall. How are you doing in pink today?
Good morning, everyone. I'm doing fantastic. It's almost Viking season. I mean, it is, but we kick off very soon.
Mojo is flowing. We're excited about doing a really fun topic today, making parenting easy, which is not always necessarily true for so many things, but we're going to try to help everyone in their parenting endeavors, or maybe hopes to be parenting. Now, if you're not a parent, you're like, oh, hold up, I got to get out of here. No. There's going to be so much truth dropped today that's going to help you in your own personal life, because the way all of us are parenting, at least on today's episode, we're parenting through the lens of making great human beings that will make an impact in the world. So that's what we're going to do today. We're not alone. We have the one and only Dwayne down in the SIP with the flower just above his head. Got to throw headphones on. Dwayne, how we doing today? Are we switching to Dwayne at all? Anyone? We got Legend and Epic are running the tech today. There we go.
There he is.
But I can't hear Dwayne. Did you unmute him, Ledge?
There we go.
Good
morning.
Man, these boys, they're on top of the world today, Dwayne. But they are full of shenanigans. Full of shenanigans.
Question is, who do they get that from?
Yeah.
For sure, Holly. Are you kidding me? Those that make it look like it's coming from them, that it's more public, you know that it's just
What?
It's the ones that are hiding things,
wow.
like they have it all together in front of people. You know, behind the closed doors, that they are the shenanigan person. Like, she just uses me as the front person.
I would say they never had a chance. They never had a chance. Yes, Holly would fall in that category. She is very fun to be around. She is all those shenanigans, but I mean, we know you as well, Scott. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Dwayne coming in today. Wow.
And we'll see you guys next week. That's all that needs to be said.
That was parenting right there. This is great. This is so wonderful.
We also are not alone. We have a lot of little chipmunks running around the garage today.
Talk about parenting. Apparently, chipmunks just keep having more and more baby chipmunks, and they're everywhere. Like, it's going to be a problem, Dwayne. I think they're going to eat things I don't want them to eat. So this morning, I kind of mentally made a note that I'm going to go on a little bit of a hunting spree.
You know what I'm going to do?
If you
I'm
say
going to get more cats.
Yeah, get out of here.
That's a little philosophy, yeah.
Yeah, those are one of the things that I rescued Holly from. If had I not married her, she'd be a cat woman for sure. Cats everywhere. Everywhere.
I do like cats.
We go on and on about that. That's one of the things we definitely don't see eye to eye on. But I've gotten you a couple cats.
Yeah.
So
one.
Diggs is a great cat.
Diggs is the best cat.
You don't live with Diggs.
Diggs is the best cat ever. He's awesome.
Okay, give us 3 things why cats are better than dogs then.
I'm not saying cats are better than dogs. Nope. You're changing it. That's not what
So cats aren't better than dogs.
I like to have both. I like the house to have a cat. I like the house to have a dog.
What is better? Let's hear it in the chat this morning. What do you think's better, a cat or a dog? Let's hear it from you. Cat or dog?
I like a house with both.
No, that
I've always grown up with having both.
You're not answering the question.
Okay, let's see what everybody else says.
Well, this isn't about everybody else. It's about you and me in the studio today. The other desk,
part
empty.
of me,
we can show you an empty desk here.
Part of me
no
says,
one sits there to
part
rescue
of me says
you.
I need to go.
Dwayne is not going to rescue. Dwayne, what are you, a cat or dog person?
I would dog person.
Yeah, thank you. He was going to try to go middle of the road.
We have had more dogs than we've had cats.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to tell our history. How you're acting like these cats and dogs can hear you and you're going to offend one of them.
Here's the truth. Everybody's got to have a dog.
Why?
Got to have a dog. Because there's so much to them. They are like, they need you as well. That's one thing. A cat doesn't really need you. A cat's like, I'll do my own thing, whatever. However, I like having a cat around. I like the cat to sleep in my bed. I like all that. But a dog, like, you get to interact, you get to take care of it. It takes care of you. All of those kind of things. So everybody needs a dog. Every kid needs a dog. Well, yeah. Yeah. Every kid needs a dog.
I agree with that. That every kid, if we were to write a book, it would be titled something like that. Something like every kid needs a puppy. They need to experience a puppy and it grow up with them and then be best buds. No one ever says about a cat.
A cat, I will say this. A cat is a way better cat when there's a dog. I will say that. Cats are way better, more enjoyable when there's a dog.
That's like saying humans are better when they find Jesus. It's just these are truths. These are non-negotiables. So I'm just saying, if you have to have a dog to make a cat better, then the cat isn't better. No one ever says you need a cat to make a dog better.
Well, Milo and Otis would say that they need each other.
Milo and Otis, have you ever seen that? It's an old show, old movie, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Like old,
let's see. I'm trying to think. Like I know I've heard of it. Yeah, I've seen it.
It would have been in the probably early '90s. It came out.
Yeah,
and it's a pug and just a yellow.
It's a little yellow Morris cat.
Yeah, Morris cat deal, and they go on a big adventure. We've had to go deep into for all those parents out there. You would probably understand this. We've had to go deep into the movie watching with Rev being in full body cast. You can only watch so many Wildcat episodes on repeat, okay? And so now you're like, what else is it you can let him watch that you don't have to worry about, like him picking up some bad habits? But that is one of his favorites, is Milo and Otis. He laughs so
hard on that one.
Every time.
It's actually more fun to watch him watch Milo and Otis than to actually watch Milo and Otis.
And then you have like Inspire who watches. He's like, this is
it's terrible.
It's terrible. Why? Their mouths don't even move, Dad.
But I love it.
Yeah, like their biggest issue is that their mouths don't move because technology has advanced so far that you can get real live animals and it looks like they're really talking. What have we come to?
It's a crazy world.
This is what makes parenting hard.
We got chipmunks that sing.
We do?
Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Oh, I thought that's very
in our world.
Okay.
Yeah, that was funny. Rev the other day was asking for the old school chipmunks, like Alvin and the Chipmunks. And Legend was like, what's, like, there isn't old school. Like, this is it. Like, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks that sing. And Rev's like, no. Like, the cartoon, not the real chipmunks. It was really, really funny. He wanted the old school. The old, terrible animation.
I'm loving watching the chat go on. We got a lot of people saying dogs. Like, dogs is overwhelmingly have won. Like, even that Dan Woodham, he all capitalizes. He's screaming at us, dogs.
He's screaming.
I see, unless somebody has wrote a very long, what's Elizabeth say?
She's with me. Woo! Elizabeth's always with me.
Yeah, she's just...
I love her.
Yeah. Dwayne usually is too. Most people side with the victims. I mean, the people
Oh, my gosh.
They never view me as that. I'm always the instigator. Okay, Dwayne has been brought here today because he's going to ref. No, just messing. He's not. For those that are wondering, there is not a flower on the ceiling, okay, above Dwayne's head. It took us a solid half hour to get to even do. He finally moved the camera and we could see what's happening. It's a flower hanging from the ceiling, but from our angle, it looks like it's stuck on the ceiling. I was very perplexed why one random flower was on the ceiling. I really was, wasn't I, Dwayne?
Yeah.
I was like, I just can't move on until I can't move on. That color of the room you're in is the color that your wife came and painted. Did she paint over or painted the kitchen at the old house?
That was the first color that we did. Yeah.
She painted over that.
I don't remember.
I think she painted over that color when she came, and you did not come. I'm not upset that you didn't come. I'm just hurt. That was like 5 years ago, 7 years ago.
It was strategic. It was strategic.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Dwayne shared the other day, and it was like I had a mixed emotions. He shared a Facebook memory post, Holly, that like when you click it or you get on Facebook, it shows you like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yes.
That's what you're doing. He showed us one that it said 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
The nickels.
Dwayne.
Yeah, I think it was 5 years.
Dwayne moved to White Bear, address
White Bear,
change. And I was like, this is sad. I was like, it's a sad memory. It's not a. Yeah,
well,
it's just,
Facebook doesn't choose as sad or happy. They just repost memories.
those were good days. There's still good days, Dwayne. But I was like,
It is.
Didn't I say something like that? Like I was like, I don't know if I can be happy or sad.
Right.
I was emotional.
I smiled, but then I cried or something.
Yeah, something like
was
that.
the comment.
Yes. That is correct. Okay, today we are going to deep dive into parenting. This is for those that are traveling, like the Adams who are down in Rochester, Minnesota. They won't be at the physical location today. They're getting what no one's going to get at the physical location. We're doing 2 topics today. I decided to put 2 topics together. I thought this weekend would be a cool opportunity to test if we, Holly and I, and maybe even Dwayne would be in on it to help kind of navigate it time to time, but do some kind of parenting podcast from our experience of raising 8 human beings, 8 personalities, 8 different ages, 8 thoughts and opinions on what should we have for dinner. When that question ever is asked, I cringe when Holly asks that because it's like, how will you ever make a decision? Because you're going to get 8 variations of that, and then you can see her going, I should have never asked that question. But she does it on repeat. She likes to incorporate everybody. What should we have for dinner? And then all of a sudden, Epic comes up with some crazy idea, and she's like, no, we're not having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, just fried and pickle juice. It's not happening. But those are the things that are suggested at times. And so we're going to take our experience, not that it's perfect. It's not. We are flawed humans and flawed parents. But we're going to try to help people that view parenting as very difficult. We're also going to take 17 years as youth pastors, meaning we worked with other people's children from the ages of 6th grade to senior in high school for 17 years. And it was some of the most fun times. I think one of the most frustrating things, though, in that time period in my life, and Holly, maybe you all have something different, Dwayne, was when parents would come and say, my child is broken, and they would sit us down, would you please teach on this topic, or would you please do this, fix my child. And at first, you're like, okay, sure. And when they keep coming back with, hey, fix my child, I remember having some parent that was really upset that I hadn't fixed their child after I think their student had come for a month or something, and they were really laying in on me that I hadn't talked on a topic that they needed to have it. And I just looked at them and said, hey, 4 weeks of 1 hour with me cannot correct 16 years of parenting. It just can't happen.
Right.
Those and I said it with a smile, but I was just trying to drill that home. Like, hey, church organizations or podcasts or whatever parents are trying to get in, it's like, wait, 1 hour, and that's if a parent brings them every week, right? Maybe it's 2 hours if you bring them on during Wednesday night. So you get 2 hours a week. I don't know how many hours are in a week. I mean, it's 24 times 7. I don't have Haley, our mathematician, here, but
Dwayne's a teacher.
168.
168 hours.
Nailed it.
You have 2 of those if you bring. But here's the deal. The statistics are that parents are choosing so much over the church at this time period. And so they're missing that experience where people are partnering with you as parents to get things into your child that will make them different. And so first thing I got to say before we really get into it, man, don't have your kids miss church.
Don't miss church.
Don't miss church. But I get it. You're everybody, right? Dwayne, everybody's got that. Well, my child is in sports. I love sports. Dwayne, do you love sports?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of my my talking points are going to come from today is my hat as a coach.
Yeah.
I do not love sports.
You are, she.
Just teasing.
She's holding
sports.
The switcher guy didn't get it there quick enough to show the Viking mug that she's holding. But yeah, we love sports, but we want to make sure we're parenting in a way that our children know sports don't trump a relationship with Jesus. And it's hard when we live in a culture that doesn't really care about that. First thing this year, Legend and Epic are racing in cross country. It's pretty fun to watch them, Dwayne. They are either we're gonna break them, or they're gonna be really good.
Or they're gonna soar.
Yeah, I mean, there is a fine line.
They're gonna be sore either way.
Yeah, they're sore. They live in a constant
Hurting
state
sore,
of sore.
or like flying sore.
Because they go and do workouts, and then they come do workouts with me, and then we pump them full of all kinds of nutrition things, and then they go do it again, and they get one day off a week, and they're
doing amazing.
They are. You can.
Oh yeah.
You can see it, the results. They can see the results on their team. They're getting faster. They're moving up in the ranks. It was cool to meet the coach the other day.
They're putting in work.
But we asked them what do they want out of the race season, and they're like, I don't want to miss Wednesday. And so we wrote to the coach before they started the season saying, we're in, but they're not missing. We didn't say it as parents, right? We didn't want to leverage our wants. We said, hey, Legend Epic do not want to miss Wednesday night services. So if there is games or practices that go past 6 o'clock, they will no longer be there. They're willing to run extra for that on the other side of it. But what it did is it sets the precedence of, I'm going to give you all I got, coach, but I here's my number one. And it was cool to watch them walk through that. And I want them to be great at the sport. I would love to see them both go to state. This week they find out if they made varsity. Fun thing about cross country is you get picked for varsity before every race. So it's not like once you're on varsity, you're there. Because throughout a season, Dwayne and I understand this, your times can change drastically inside that season because you're putting in the work. And so they pick every week who's varsity, and you have to have a accumulated amount of time is what makes you varsity at the end of the season. So if you race different races because they're all different lengths, then you would get more time allocated to the bucket of being varsity. So they find out, I believe Tuesday is it, boys, if you're racing this Thursday for varsity. So it'll be interesting to see. I have my thoughts. We will not share them because, again, in parenting, you don't want to squash children either. But you don't want to be false hope either, right? And there's a fine line between that. You don't want to build them up that is not true to where then when they met with the coach and the coach speaks different, it's like, wait, when my parents are saying I'm the best of the best and the coach is putting me next to dead last, you can't do that to a child, right?
Up. Yeah, it doesn't measure up.
You have to have realistic in it. And so it's been a fun journey for us as having two boys duking it out together, and they're learning a lot. We'll save some of those things. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk all about those things. But some of those things I just said there, it's not I want to make sure we say this as well, Dwayne, as we're talking to everybody. I don't like when I say the sports thing and someone else chooses differently, I don't think they're failing as a parent. Does that make sense, Dwayne? Because I think some people will hear what I say, and Scott thinks if I let my child stay on the chess team and miss church, I'm bad. No, I don't. I don't think that. I think my experience, though, would say their trajectory all of a sudden is going to change just slightly. You're going to have to compensate for that somewhere else to get more of Jesus into your child. And so that's some of my thoughts there. Does that make kind of a big opening statement there, Dwayne? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's no one size fits all. Like is what you just said. But at the same time, we as Jesus followers know that the more we can like get past the physical and the spiritual, like that's often neglected, and like that has to be looked at as well. So
yeah,
yes.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get this rolling right after Waymaker. It's one of my favorite songs. We know this one doesn't kick us off. For all of those that are watching this week, last week we did Gratitude from Redden Lakes, older song, and it kicked us right out of we were just gonzers. We lost internet feed. And so this one I don't think will, because we've done it before. So here's Waymaker. This is you get, and for all those coming in with just a long week and you need a moment to pause and reflect and get your heart positioned right. Maybe say, God, open my heart today to receive something. May I walk out of here with something I got to work on. And so that's our hopes over the next few moments. Here is Waymaker, and we'll be right back right after this to really dive into making parenting easy for all of you. Enjoy Waymaker.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, you're moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, you're working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. 'Cause you are Waymaker, miracle worker, never stop working. You'll never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You'll never stop working. You'll never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You'll never stop working. You'll never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You'll never stop.
That is such a great song. It never stops working, no matter how bad the situation is. It doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. He keeps showing up and show off. So I hope you love that song. That's called Waymaker. You can download it, put it on your podcast or your iPhones, whatever if you're running, working out. That's a great way to start your day. Put it as a ringtone, all those things. So I'm really grateful that you're all hanging with us today. Off camera, some parenting moments have already had it happen. This morning, Epic is running Switcher today. He's a little bit of a collecto guy, and there's these paint sticks around here that help level our platforms and things.
We don't use them for paint. We use them for leveling.
The things we stand on, if we can go to the wide shot, you would see like the platforms we stand on, we use them like this wood thing you see my red shoes on. We use those because it gets us to the right height of the camera, but also the major point is when it gets really cold, the concrete freezes our feet from the bottom up. So this keeps our feet from freezing in the winter.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But Epic today, he's in here turning stuff on and saw a paint stick, which held one of these up. I was wobbling earlier, and he's over there drumming during the conversation with Dwayne and Holly, and we're like, hey, you're the switcher, meaning you switched the shot. Oh, you weren't called in here to be the drummer with paint sticks today. Oh, yeah, right. And so he's over there with the paint stick still in his hand, and Holly finally goes, Epic.
Put all paint sticks on the floor. Because they're drumming on each other's head. They're drumming on the desk. They're drumming.
Teenage boys,
Oh, boys.
I just got to say, are entertainment nonstop all the time. The things they say, the things they do. It's one of the most fun seasons with these two boys because, yeah, it is hilarious. Now, sometimes they overstay their comedic role. And when it's like, no, get to work.
Which in turn makes it overstaying their welcome.
Yes, at some points. It's like, okay, comedian hour with legend is over. Let's hit the road. But nonetheless, it is pretty funny at times. And again, going back to the title, parenting is not hard. I'm going to ask Dwayne, do you agree with that statement, Dwayne, or would you like to argue with that statement?
Does Dwayne argue?
Like,
You can have a different opinion.
well, it's not that it's a different opinion. It's just like I could see it being both ways. Like, it's not hard, but at the same time, it like I don't know. I guess it's not hard. Like the ramifications of it, like is heavy.
That's a good way to put it.
Maybe that's where I'm coming from it.
Okay, I like kind of where you're going. I think that's what makes parenting hard is that
there's a lot with it.
Your lack of engagement or engagement, you get real time results either way. And because of that, it makes everything I do weighty. It should, at least. There should be like, okay, there's some weight in what I do. And so when I say parenting, I'll ask Holly. She doesn't typically get to speak on these things. I just say them, and then everybody looks at her. Does she share the same opinion? Do you think parenting is hard? Do you agree with that statement? Those are in the chat. Please write. Do you think parenting is hard?
I don't think actually, like, no. I agree. I don't think it's hard. I think there are challenging moments, but it's if that is parenting or does it come down to me? Am I the one that's being the challenge in this? If I'm in the right mindset, if I'm in the right place, then no, it's not. I think it's we love having our kids, and we love getting to do all of the different things that we get to do with them. And remembering that in all of the different seasons that you're doing this with your kids, and getting to see this or do these things or work this way or whatever, it isn't hard. You're just doing it with more people.
Okay. I think what makes parenting hard, and this is not reserved to a follower of Jesus, but I think you realize that when you become a parent, me as Scott, now all of a sudden, no longer do I have to figure out how to now put Holly before me, but now I have other humans to put before me. And so the collision of self is what makes it so hard, is that I have to constantly do work on me to be a better parent and a better husband. There's what makes just life hard. It's not that these subcategories are hard alone or isolated. It's that they're hard if I can't beat self, if I can't control myself, if I can't lead myself, then parenting be hard, marriage be hard, being a coworker be hard, right? All these things are going to be hard now because of selfishness. That's what we have to be. We have to be able to lead ourselves first and foremost. We have got to discipline ourselves. We've got to be able to take care of ourselves. The funny thing about discipline, Dwayne, and I think you know this, Holly hears me say it all the time, discipline always has a price tag, and it's always expensive. But you can either delay the payment or pay the payment today in discipline. And choose any topic, but we'll bring it back to running. I can either pay the price of discipline today, the pain price tag to get fit or cross the finish line. I either pay that today, or I delay it to the actual event, and now the price tag just went up. It costs more because the pain on race day, it's unexplainable. It hurts, and then how long you hurt afterwards. If I pay the price daily, little deposits in it, it's going to cost less, and I'm going to get the results I want. And the same thing personally in our lives, just anything. Eating right requires discipline, and there's pain in, I don't get to eat like everybody else. That's right. I'm going to control that. But yeah, there's a little bit of I'm missing out, but you're healthier today. But in the long term, you're healthier and avoiding some of those other complications that can come from unhealthy eating. For those that aren't disciplined now with what they eat, they'll 5 years from now, 10 years from now, overweight, how'd I get here? Now the pain that they have to pay or the price tag to get in shape there is going to cost a lot more. And so what makes parenting hard is not your children, it is our ability to be selfless.
That is so good. That's so good, because what parenting, it isn't the child, it isn't the behavior, whatever. It is you fixing you and then bringing them with you. I really like that statement. We need to write that down.
We need to write it down. Take notes then. Does that make how's that settle with you, Dwayne? You're training for marathons. You've had marathons where you've done really, really well at, and marathons that you've paid the price on race day. Is this a true statement, or am I just making it up, Dwayne?
Oh no. It is definitely true. As we speak, so yesterday, typically Saturdays are my long day. So Joey and I are training for a marathon in Dayton, Ohio in the next few weeks. Saturdays are typically my long day. However, so yesterday was Saturday. I've got to get the roof on my house. So I did not run yesterday. So I know that I'm gonna have to pay that price later. And but yeah, it was a calculated decision.
It was a calculated decision. Yeah. Here's the funny thing, Dwayne, and I'm going to use your story, what you just said there, because I'm involved in the race day for you. And what I'm about to say, I really don't. It doesn't. I'm only leveraging to teach. I don't have a real strong opinion on it. But here's the crazy thing about either we discipline ourselves on bigger things than just this race day, Dwayne. These things, races that we sign up for, they're fun to learn about ourselves, but they don't really... They allow us to stretch a muscle that needs to be stretched, which is self-discipline and self-control, okay? And they leak over into parenting and marriage and co-working and all these different areas. When there's lack of or great discipline, there's collateral damage and success. Meaning, when I don't pay the price with my health now, where it's a lot on just me and, well, the collateral damage is when I am 80 years old and I'm falling all apart because I didn't take care of my body. Now, more people are involved in taking care of me because I didn't take care of myself. Race day for you, showing up not fully trained because of life circumstances means I'm chasing you around longer than I would have if you would have trained. Same with Joe, right? That's not a shot at you, Dwayne. That's just trying to make the point. When there's discipline or lack of discipline, there's always collateral damage. And I don't use collateral damage as the negative because consequences is still a negative. But when I take care of myself, or I save my money, or I avoid those areas, I'm not putting it on other people to now take care of me. Does it, right? So there's, so when it comes to just life in general, and not just parenting, it's leading ourselves, help other people. That's why we say being a follower of Jesus makes you better at life and makes your life better. Or you could say Jesus makes your life better and makes you better at life. When I'm more disciplined in my life, it seeps into other areas. My relationship with Holly's better. Being a parent is better. Because when self sits on the throne, what happens is I need my time. I'm clocking out. Go do whatever you want. Here's your iPad. I'm going to put my headphones in and watch my movie. I just need some... daddy time or mommy time or just me time. All of those things should be like immediate warning lights beeping, like, if you like the genre movies of submarines and all of a sudden, you hear that wah, 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 and it's red lights blinking. It's warning you, hey, things are not going in the right direction. Something's not right. When you say, I need me time, I just need to get alone, selfishness is at the forefront. And you're teaching your children to be led by self, which then is going to make it complicated for you, especially when they can share their opinion and you can no longer just pick them up as a 2-year-old and just put them down. Now they're teenagers and they've watched you need your time and just need me time. And you're like, and all of a sudden you let them go do that. Those are dangerous moments and should be paused in and really thought through.
That's good.
I'm not saying, because somebody's going to go, well, so you're saying that you shouldn't ever have your own time. I didn't say that. I get it. But creating that space where it's healthy and it's not telling the children, I need a break from you. Because when you say, I need a break from you, it comes across as you're an inconvenient. You're bothering me. It diminishes the relationship between child and parent when I need me time. It says, I wish you weren't here. You didn't say it like that, but that's how it's processed through the brains of children. So, you got to wrestle out the me time. You got to, parents, I don't know who this is. Just take the headphones out. I get it. It's so easy to say, just everybody in the car, put your headphones in and watch and listen to whatever you want. It's easier because you don't have to deal with all the clashes of everything and people being bickering and all those things, right? We got 8 kids in the car. We know it. We take really long trips together. We know that. But those are those moments where relationships are built. Inside relationships, Dwayne, this is going to be a bit harsh. I hate headphones. I do. It's like me showing up.
It's like a wall.
Yeah, it's like me going to this race with you, and we're all in the same hotel room. And when I get in there, I just put headphones on, and I just watch my own thing on an iPad. It's like, what is this guy doing? Like, I get it for those that need to put headphones on while you sleep. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when relationships are there that can be made. Headphones are only eroding those relationships, not building them. And Holly and I, we always say this, Dwayne. We parent with the end in mind. So many times, parents parent in the moment. How do I keep peace?
Yeah.
So many times I parent in the moment. Like, it's hard. That's a hard concept to constantly be aware of. But I even think it goes to, you're talking about headphones, like the boys and I have been going back and forth because I take them to practice or whatever. And it's not very far down the road that I'm taking them to. And there might be a constant ask like, hey, can we have music on? Can we have music on? And I've just kind of noticed that when we don't put the music on, the conversation is so fun and so good in learning of what they're dealing with and what was challenging to them or whatever. So it's just taking those intentional moments. It's just on the headphone thing of to be able to be in conversation. And I think that we often don't take the time, the conversation, whether it's with our kids, whatever, when there's a constant headphones, a constant music, we don't take the intentional time to have conversation. And that is often between parents and kids.
Yeah, we as parents, we are in charge, it should be at least, in charge of setting the environment to create and build relationships. When I talk about parenting with the end in mind, if you're thinking about have kids or you got little ones, like it's not too late. Even as a teenager, you know, right? Like I get it. Sometimes you hear this, like, oh, it's too late. I got teenagers. We've already got them trained up this way. No, you can change. Change is hard. No one likes to do that. But if you don't like the direction you're going into, you got to change. Because one thing I've learned about direction determines your destination, not my hopes and dreams. I hope we have good kids.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that doesn't get us down the road. The direction
you're actually
that
going.
we've set strategically is now determining the destination. So when we say parent with the end in mind, it's like, what kind of children do we want when they're 18 years old? 18 to 19 is where we're saying they're adults. They have the choice to move out on their own. And so it's like, okay, 18. What kind of human are we trying to produce? Not what kind of children are we producing for our namesake that our name isn't washed through the mud. No. It's what kind of human are we trying to, we want to help foster, create. So backing up now, what environment are we setting up for that? So then that makes the decisions of, okay, what kind of human do we want them to be in mind? Well, with that in mind, how long should they be able to play video games? And how should they get to play video games? When should they get a cell phone? When should they get headphones? You know, none of our children, and we have a 15-year-old turning 16 in a couple months.
He just got his driver's permit.
Yeah. None of our children own a set of headphones. And I think people think that's crazy. I think people look at us and go like, yeah, that's like, there's something wrong with you. You guys are like the Amazon jungle kind of family.
We often tell them they don't own anything.
Yeah. Except for what but it's, and again, they're all going to school. They all have their own iPads. And sometimes it's like, hey, turn that down because you got to do school and stuff, or go find a spot. But there's a whole bunch of reasons. It's not just, they're not being controlling. It's, again, setting up an environment. We're trying to produce somebody at the end. Why no headphones? One, we want to be able to create relationships. Two, if we hear something that's not appropriate on their device, we can parent it. Hey, what are you watching? What video game are you playing? So now all of a sudden we can parent in those moments. Man, what I've understood about kids, students, no matter their age, they be liars. They just lie. They got to learn how not to lie, but they just lie. Because they're like, they just do. Like, I love my kids.
Well, because they're
liars.
protecting self as well. So.
Yeah, they're protecting self as well, yeah.
So they don't, yeah, it's just nature to want to protect yourself, and lying is one of those things.
Now, I think, Holly, you assume the best and better in them often. You're like, she goes one time
They
to
would
me.
never do that.
One time, she's like, how'd you know he was lying? I was like, are you kidding? Are you not looking at his entire body while he's talking his courage? The dude's the cutest thing ever. And you just look at him and you're like, he's so adorable, he'd never lie. He's like, did you color on something? No, I didn't. And he's...
Courage, your name is written on this.
Yeah. Well,
It wasn't me.
and she's believing him, and I step and go, no way, you're lying, aren't you? And all of a sudden,
He just
tears.
lost it.
Yes, I am. And then I'm like, well, no, that's unacceptable. And but I default to, and I think the older they get, they lie less. But I think, man, young and teenagers that are just starting to get a lot of freedom, they tend to lie because they are trying to figure out the boundaries of things. And you, as parents, when you catch them in a lie, dishonesty, you gotta, in my opinion, you just bring down the walls. Because lying, not only does it destroys relationship, it separates relationships. It's a whole lot of things with lying. And Jesus talks about being honest. Jesus talks about what does love require, and being honest is one of the forefront things that Jesus talks about, being truthful. Because if you're going to lie to your parents who, in relationships, in their time period as teenagers and down, it's the closest relationship they have. If they are going to lie to you as parents and you let them get away with it, guess what? They're going to lie to their coworkers, to their bosses, to their whoever they marry. We've got to set them up for success in the future going, no, this is non-negotiable. Because first and foremost, Jesus says it's not okay. We have 3 things that are non-negotiables that always follow consequences. Holly, would you like to take a stab at this, or would you?
Sure. The 3 things. What were you saying? That we discipline for?
Yes,
Is that
that are non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables in our house: dishonesty.
So telling the truth.
Disrespect is a big one. What am I missing?
You can only get 2.
Dishonesty, disrespect. Hold on, I have
Disobedience.
Disobedience. That's the easy one.
Yeah, right. Last night she got the disrespect one.
Dishonesty, disobedience, disrespect.
So it's 3 Ds. We've never added to the list from the get-go. Epic, are you with us today? Because I'm talking. Mom's not. There you go. This guy. Dwayne, I can just hear him all morning
He's
today.
chuckling.
He's just chuckling the whole time. He's like, this is hilarious.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of good truth. It's, it's different for each family. It's different each household. And I mean, I think you would say this, and I'm listening to y'all talk, and it's like, okay, definitely, like it's different, and as parents, and all the times that we get it right, and I think honestly, like for me, like that's what I want to make sure that I am is, a parent that, hey, you know what, I'm not perfect, and kind of teaching through that, hey, how to not be perfect and how to, kind of not be dishonest. Like, okay, well, I wasn't perfect, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm dad and I can't, I think that's just such an old school way of thinking that there's fallacy there to where, hey, no, it's more important that you teach them how to make mistakes and then how to rebound and how to respond to that like a follower of Jesus, because we're going to make mistakes. We know that.
Yeah.
Well, and the principle of teaching someone else, your children, to respond how Jesus would and how to fix that in relationships how Jesus would, sets them up for so many different things as opposed to just correcting that behavior. Like, no, it's just not okay to lie. It's just not, no, why is it not okay to lie? Why is it not okay? Well, because that breaks the relationship. So now you got to fix that relationship. And this is how Jesus teaches us to treat others, and fixing it that way. You're giving the long term of how to be a follower of Jesus, not just how to have things in place on a certain day,
Yes. And I think to Dwayne's point, again, how you are choosing the end, defining the end with your children, or even your marriage, you should always start everything with the end in mind so that you can back up and are we tracking to get where the destination we want to be? So that's what kind of child you want to produce is going to back up and create different things in your life. You could be all about headphones. I think we always have got to be able to listen to somebody talk about parenting and go, where are my frustrations with my children? And then stop doing the same thing, expecting different results. Mm-hmm. You got to change things. And yes, when you come in and change things with children, let me give you a little bit of help in this. You don't come in and just rip all the posters off the wall and go, that's it. You can no longer put stuff on the wall. You give a runway for them. Hey, 1 week from now, we're going to move into a different kind of system inside the bedroom. We can't put things in the wall because we keep ruining the wall, so no more. But in a week's time, we're going to take everything down. So you're setting them up that, hey, child of mine, things are about to change. We're going to change the system. The way we evaluate success in this home is changing. When you don't bring them along on a long runway, what you get is mutiny. And I'm talking about 1 year old and up. You have got to explain to your child, your teenager, things are changing. Because when we recognize a problem inside the parent-child relationship or the family as a whole, that we're not going to reach the destination, we got to make some course adjustments, but you owe it to those that you're in relationships with to communicate. We're changing the course. The way we determine if it has been a successful day as a family is changing. So some of you are, maybe you've heard already something, I gotta change that. Don't change it without the child knowing you're changing it. Or they're going to be confused. You're just going to create a fight and you're going to throw your hands up and give up. And then the child wins. Because at the end of the day, children, I said this a couple weeks ago, but it needs to be put into this. It's a reminder, a refresher for all of us to understand children are on a quest that you and I are on a quest for just in human nature, and that's power. We want supreme rulership of our entire lives. We don't want a boss to tell us what to do. We don't want we want nobody. We don't want God to tell us what to do. We want to lead ourselves. The problem is, if we lead ourselves, it's just straight to destruction. If we choose everything without being educated, that's bad. We are going to destroy our lives early. We are meant to be led by God and God alone. But human nature fights against that, and you see it play out in kids because they do not have the filters in place to not say what they're feeling or to not throw themselves to the ground when they get something taken away. What you're watching is a child leveraging everything, regardless if it's embarrassing to them as an individual, to get what they want because they're after power. Our jobs as parents is to teach them how to submit to another authority. And that's very difficult because that means sometimes you as a parent have to dig your toes and your heels into the sand and go, I'm not moving. Throw a fit. Call me, especially when you get teenagers. All of a sudden, fits are no longer like throwing themselves to the ground. It's now personal darts thrown at you. I hate you. I wish you weren't even my parents. Right? Now it makes it personal. When those things start happening, you gotta dig your heels in. You've gotta choose your battles. In the battles you choose, you have to win decisively. It can't be, it's a tie. It's choose your battles and win decisively. In every age bracket, it's different. We always tell the peace stories with greatness, and it's on a vlog somewhere on our YouTube channel.
That boy.
Greatness. He didn't hate. He just didn't want to eat peas. I'm not eating peas. And he'd sit at the table and wouldn't eat peas. And it's like, you try to teach him at a young age. Peas are better hot, buddy. Cold peas are not tasty.
Not good.
Not good. If you try to hide them in milk. What is it about a child in their brain? I'm going to take this green object and put it in white. No one will ever see these green things at the bottom of the milk. I did that with broccoli growing up, and I got caught, obviously, because you could see the broccoli, especially if it's a glass milk or glass
A cup.
cup.
Plus.
And then I had to drink the milk and eat the broccoli.
Ugh.
It was not good. Peas
Well
and
done,
milk.
Mary Mendenhall.
Not good. And greatness is probably 2 years old. And I said, greatness, we're going to be here all night. We will literally be here all night. We are not leaving this table to eat the peas. Now, did I have other things to do? Absolutely. Did I want to sit there all night and just sit there as he yawns and almost falls asleep trying to eat peas? No, I did not. But I knew we wanted to teach him that, hey, when mom and dad say do, you do.
We just had that last night with Rev. He didn't want to eat his mashed potatoes and corn, and
Oh
he
my
was like,
gosh.
"I don't like this.
They're
Mom."
not good.
And in some of those moments, it's hard because here you got this poor little buddy that can hardly sit up, but it doesn't change the principle of it. Doesn't change the fact that no, this is just a power struggle, and when you recognize that, and he takes a couple bites of it and was like, "Oh, this is good, Mom." Well, yeah, like we know it's good, but there is just constant power struggles in all ages, in every phase, and it's just staying consistent.
Right. So
With it.
choose your battles and win decisively. Dwayne.
Realize that what battle's going on, and I think dealing with anyone, like understanding, okay, hey, this is what it is. Like, this is a battle. This is them trying to gain control. Like, it makes it easier to keep your control when you realize that it's not personal. It's
Right.
like, it's just, that's a battle that they're going through. Like, as a teacher, like, I deal with this all the time. It's like, it's like I could go back at the kids and, be sarcastic or whatever. It's like, no, it's them. I've set the expectation knowing that I want them to eat the vegetables. So this is what is going to happen. And like, I'm not going to get upset. Like, you're going to do what I tell you to do. And that's
Right.
just how it's going to be.
And Dwayne, we've gotten pushback from other people that would hear us because we tell the peace story often when we're talking about parenting things. Is this house a dictatorship? Why does your child have to do everything you want them to do? Can't they decide? And it's like, oh, okay. Like, at one point, I remember there was a trend when we had Icon that they started saying that parents should have to ask to change their child's diaper at whatever age it was. And I'm like, what is happening here? Like, this is crazy. Like, a 1-year-old, would you like me to change your diaper? No, I would like to sit in my poop all day. Okay, cool. You don't have enough information in your brain to make a wise decision, but because it's like, no, I get where people are trying to head with that, but it's like, no, that's not healthy. There is a lot of wisdom that adults have that kids don't have, and why would I want my child to listen to me and learn that at a young age? Because there are going to be seasons, and it has happened countless times in this household, where they are embarking on an adventure, running to the street to get a ball, and I need them to stop when I say stop. I don't need them to finish running into the street and then turn around and go, why did you want me to stop? Because it would have been too late. They'd have been hit by a car. I need them to listen because I'm going to, as much as I can control, prevent them from being in danger. So I need them to listen when I say listen. Now, I've read a lot of parenting books because we're constantly trying to learn to be better parents. You got 8 personalities. You gotta be fresh around here, And so the olders will kind of give our strategy away to the youngers, and so you gotta always change the strategy so that when information is downloaded, that the 4 littles are unaware of what's happening, right? And so we're always constantly looking for different strategies. And
But I mean, I think, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Dwayne.
No. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, so I've heard a lot of parenting books talk about counting's bad. Don't count, when you tell a child to do something, and then don't start counting because they should just listen. I hear that, and I'm like, okay. I got friends and people that count, like, hey, let's do the dishes. No, I asked you to do these dishes. You got 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. It's just a system that these parents have chosen, but the parents that chose to count down, they can't get frustrated when the child didn't move on the first go because the child is waiting for 3 because that's the way they've been trained. I don't need to move until the counting happens. So there is a flaw in the counting system only if the parent that's doing the counting wanted them to move when I asked them to move. As long as the parent's okay with, I'm going to ask them to do something, but I don't expect them to go until I count to 3, then that's okay. It's just a problem if when a parent says do the dishes and they're angry at them because they're not doing it and start to count down or count up, whatever way they're deciding to count, in frustration. You got to understand, it's just a system that's been created. And those are some of those things that if you don't like that they don't move till 3, sit them down and say, we're no longer counting. You do or do not do. And if you don't do when we ask, then there's consequences, because that goes back, especially in this house, when we ask them to do dishes, or yesterday it was mow, weed eat, and depending on what time, wherever you live in the world, we whack, we rip.
Weed eat.
Weed eat. I'm a weed eater. I'm not physically, but that's what I say. Nonetheless, that's all happening around here. Bird feeders need to be filled. Weeds need to be pulled. So everybody's got jobs. And I'm delegating out these jobs. Hey, go pull weeds and pull this. I wasn't, the expectation was when I turn around again, they're doing what I'm asking them to do. They're not like, okay, cool, I'm going to go start a video game. Now, there's a lot of, like, we've taught our children, like, if they're in the middle of something, they don't have to just drop it and go. You're teaching them to be a respectful human being. Hey, Dad, when I die in this video game, is it cool if I go do that? Yep, thanks for communicating to me. When you finish this round, you're going to go out there and do that. Now you're teaching them life skills. But when they don't do what they said they're going to do, that comes back to the disobedience. And disobedience is a big deal in this house. So we don't count down, and we expect them to do it almost immediately or communicate when they'll do it, so that we know they're going to be obedient, because at the end of the day, we want them to be obedient to Jesus' principles. We want them to be obedient to what Jesus says to them to do. Obedience is a big deal. And so when they're not, yes, there's consequences. And, consequences change as they get older. We change what you do according to the individual and the age they are and what they were disobedience with. Disrespect. Why would we discipline with disrespect? Again, Jesus says love your neighbor as yourself, love your enemy. It's always about relationship. When you're disrespectful to someone, it's a break in the relationship. So therefore, we would want to be able to step in and go, hey, you're being disrespectful, because what are we parenting again in mind? We want respectful human beings. We want we want our children to respect all authority, policemen, teachers, coaches, people at church. We want our children to be respectful. So when they're not being respectful, we stand up for disrespect and go, no. There will be consequences for that. And it's always changing. I want, first and foremost, my boys to be respectful and hold open doors and open car doors and be aware of what mom's doing. And so we implemented a long time ago where the boys, and this is a very southern thing. I don't know if you've ever seen anyone down in the South do this, Dwayne, but this is something I picked up down in the South. But all our boys stand at the table and wait for mom to be seated, because I want them to be aware of what mom's doing and not just chowing down while mom's still trying to put something on the table. And then when mom gets up, they stand up. Well, now it's evolved into, especially Legend and Epic, as they're older now, Mom, what can I get for you? I'll get it. So that everyone else can keep eating. But what it's done is it's teaching them to respect mom. Because it's so easy as kids become teenagers to first and foremost disrespect mom, because they view mom in a lot of times as, I don't know, Holly, I'm not trying to, but the weaker of the two, easier to break down.
Well, I think there's just naturally also a little bit of, as they've gotten older, like they're the same size as me now, like the height wise, like they're Legend's taller than me, and so I think there's just a little bit of that, but that in and of itself is a point of just because you're bigger doesn't mean you get to treat somebody poorly, or and so when you're teaching that all the way through, when they get to where they're older and taller and bigger,
yes,
that's already embedded in them, it's already taught. So
I tell Holly all the time, because
I can still take them both out, though, just like that.
Yeah. Well, I tell Holly often because even with Icon and Historic, who are 12 and 10,
Nope, 11 and 12.
11 and 12, I never know because they're always changing. It's just, it's hard. At one point, it's 10 and 12.
Well, of
and now
course it
I
is.
know it's birthdays, but it's like, it's just always happening. So
We
they're
have 8, so yes, it is.
Okay. I guess that's successful parenting. That the ages are changing always means we're keeping them alive. But it's easy for me to see, like Holly will argue with those 2 little girls. And I'm like, Holly, you've got to parent because this is going to be unbearable for everyone in this household when they're teenagers. If you don't get to that spot where they need to respect you and hold that line, you two are, it's just going to be catfights. And I'm not being mean when I say, I'm just like, but you got to win now. You got to be able to, or it's going to be me sitting all 3 of you down going, all right, ladies, sort this out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, I mean, part of it is there's so many different aspects of that when, especially in the school season, like we are all home together all the time doing all the chores, all the school, all the, different things. So for me, that's not on the kids. That's for me as mom to make sure I maintain that line, and make sure that it's, because if I say it more than once and don't be consistent with that, every kid in our house will say, Mom's going to yell. Mom's going to yell, and it will just end up being a blow up because I'll go and delegate this and that, whatever. But if I don't stay consistent and follow up that they're doing what I asked them to do, they'll be like, oh, here she goes. So that's for me as mom to make sure I maintain that line and make sure that I'm holding up what we've decided as parents, what we're going to discipline for, that is held up even through the changes, even through the phases of the kids, that line is held up of how we're training them and teaching them.
Right. And again, I get that this is, when it comes to marriage and parenting, the situations are very different. Some are ideal, some are not. Split homes, blended families, and that all does create nuances that are unique to that. But the parenting goal should still be the same, but it gets complicated because now, this weekend they're with their dad and they don't hold up the same things I do, and the child leverages this and that. It's still holding to the reality of producing great humans at the end, and don't find yourself manipulated or the fear of losing your children. I know that's easy to say sitting here with the marriage I have in the house we have, but you've got to be able to, when they're with you, be consistent so they know what to expect with you when they're in your home.
Kids like to have a consistent environment to be in. Like, I mean, you think, like, I mean, there's so much research out there that that kids want that. They not only want that, they need that to be able to grow, to be able to develop in a safe space. So they like, I think as a teacher, a big thing, I spent time as an elementary teacher. And it's like, it's teaching, okay, hey, this is what it means to come to school. This is what it means to operate in a community where there is rules. And then at middle school, they start to push back because now they have a little bit of, they have opinions, and they like some things, they don't like some things. They see inconsistencies, they see injustices, so they want to push back to where it's like, okay, like, you need to be consistent with what we're doing. And then high school, obviously, they're still trying to figure out who they want to become. But having that safe space to where they can kind of explore who they are, explore their surroundings, and yet know that they're safe. Yeah.
And Dwayne, we were talking off camera. This is a great segue into if you have more than one child, it's it could be skewed from one child to the other. Oh, you're playing favoritism. Why do they get to go out with their friends and I don't? Or whatever the situation is, it can be twisted and used by the children against the parents. You just have favorites. How does one go about handling that, Dwayne?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it goes back to like, I can only imagine with 8 kids, just all of the different personalities. Like, I mean, obviously, I know your kids, so I see that, but it always it's fun to look at, like how kids from the same household can have the same parents, the same rules, the same environment, but yet be very different. So that was always funny. We talked about, nature versus nurture. So there's, it is evident there. But I mean, I think, going back to, we are individually, we are wonderfully made. God created all of us. And, those strengths and those things that are a little bit difficult for us, like we all have those battles, we all have areas that we need to improve in. And with that, kids are the same way, to where, us as parents have got to come in and realize that, one size doesn't fit all. And, what works for one is not going to work for the other. I think we do injustice when we try to do that. I know myself as a teacher, when I try to do that, it never works well. Because, you're setting up some students for success. You're setting up some for failure, to where, I need the end is always, to help them become the best that they can be, and to shoot for excellence, and to be God-fearing people and God-loving individuals. So it's looking at their strengths and, okay, hey, what do you do really well? God's gifted you with this. Like, we need to use this. Like, God wants you to use this to glorify his name, to tell other people who he is. And these weaknesses, like, that's an opportunity for, again, for you to lean in on who God is, and lean on, God's strength. And, me as a parent, like, I'm coming in and I'm trying to help them through that of, okay, this is what, this isn't what the Bible says, should happen here. This is a weakness that we're seeing, that, that there's that opportunity to grow. So I think, looking at it as individuals, as opposed to a corporate, one size fit all, but, hey, no, this is what needs to happen. I think they're individuals.
And I think to what you're saying, and this is what we say around here, and this is a Jesus principle: you reap what you sow. So when I say that, it's like one child, wise decision making, great leader. Yes, you can go to that party. Why? Because you have reaped and you are sowing good things in your life. Mm-hmm. Child B, no, you cannot go to that party. Well, that's favoritism. You like him more. You think he... No, you have sowed bad things. I don't trust that you would make a wise decision in those moments. So no. We've had where everyone's gone to somebody's house to hang out, except for one child, because of what they were doing. They're like, we can't trust you. But it's a reaping and sowing. It's teaching a young age that, hey, life is full of reaping and sowing. You sow your way, you reap what you sow. So it's, if you want those freedoms, you want to be able to do things, then sow great things. And if you don't, the result isn't favoritism. It's me as a parent taking the time period of your work. It could be a year's time, 6 months. It could be the last week. No, what I've seen, the work you've put in life right now, no, you are not reaping good things. So no, you cannot go. That's really what you're saying there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like what you're like, your rules are there. So it's not like it's a blindsiding them of, okay, hey, right. It's, well, this came out of nowhere. Like, why is this happening? It's like, No, no, we've been talking about this. Like we've you kind of understand where we're coming from. You understand the rules. You understand that that you're having trouble with this rule right now. So we're going to help you with that.
Exactly. And that's what it is. We're helping you as parents. It's helping children to unlock their God-given greatness, but that means you do got to dig your heels in. And when you're tired, you have to be aware that self's going to get on the throne really fast and trump that go, no, I still got a parent. I still got a parent. And yeah, we say this a lot of times. When you have younger kids, the days are long. Especially when they're newborns to 2. The days seem so long because there's not much conversation having. All they need you 100% of the time. 2-year-olds, you're starting to give a little bit of like, okay, put the peanut butter on the bread. But that's about it, right? So the days are long, but the years are short. And those are just seasons. They're just phases. Days are long, but years are short. And that's just the truth of it. We see that even more as Legends starting to drive and stuff. You're like going, holy crap, 2 years from now, he could literally move out of the house if he so chose. And
what?
That's fine. Like, I am a little bit on the other side. She's a little like, what? I'm like, sweet. Love that guy. Let's see what he does. It's like watching these two on cross country racing. It's like, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I'm excited to see what we've done as parents or me as a coach with them over the last years. All of a sudden, that's where there's the test, the see. And to be honest with you, Legend and Epic are our guinea pigs, right? Like when they turn 18 and they go out there and they soar and they're awesome, whew, okay, we don't have to tweak things. But we release them to the world and they don't soar and they flop, we got to adjust our entire parenting strategy ASAP because we've got 6 more coming.
Everybody back home.
Yeah, everybody move back in. We got to sort this out.
You brought up an interesting thing that Michaela asked earlier as well. Like, when is the appropriate age to discipline, and when do kids start tracking and like understand? Is it the same age for every kid that we started disciplining? Is it a certain, I don't know.
I wish it was.
Are they a certain height? Are they?
Yeah, I wish it was as simple as an
age. I agree. I wish it was as well.
But it's not. It's and every parent knows this. You see it in your child's eye when you tell them no, and they look right back at you and they touch the TV. They know, and they're gonna go watch me. And in that moment, that the discipline phase is entered for now for the foreseeable future. And then how do you know when to switch the disciplines? That is, again, it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's looking at each child and recognizing where they're at and what you need to do. And so it's constantly evolving as parents. It's understanding the phases your kids are in, the seasons that you are in as a parent, and we don't have time to talk about those. I really genuinely think Holly and I are going to this fall kick off a parenting thing, and that's where we can talk about some of these
for a long time.
Parenting things, because we just see a big need out there for parents. We are not perfect. We mess this thing up. One podcast we should just have the older ones sit down and talk, because we apologize to them all the time.
Yikes.
I had to apologize to Legend and Epic. I don't know, 2 weeks ago they get back from cross country. They're talking about the day. And I just kind of laid into them because in my expectations, they didn't go hard enough. I was like, you didn't finish first and all the different things. And I just laid into them and I just gave a bunch of lists why they need to get after it. And Holly kind of pulls me aside in her kind, gentle, calm, still voice. I don't think we really did that very well there. And when she said we, she meant me. She's like, I think we got off course a little bit in what you're saying, Scott, and then you kind of brought it back. But because at one point I said, I won't say what I said. It was nothing.
It'll be in the fall.
We'll save that for the podcast.
It wasn't bad. It just was not.
It's just not part of our parenting strategy. And I'm sure Dwayne's like, what did you say, Scott? I'll tell you out at the marathon. It's really not that big of a deal. But Holly talked about it, and I threw back why I said it and stuff. But then I heard her, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go apologize to him. So I went to their bedroom, and they're laying in bed. And I came in and said, hey, you know what? I'm not trying to make it about that. You guys go do your best. I believe you guys are better than what I I'm hearing how you did today, but I came and apologized quickly. I didn't just leave it and go, oh, they'll sort it out. Because I understand this. This is, and we'll end it here. There's so much more to be said. That I don't understand why this is true, but it is just the truth. That mom's words are 100 pounds and dad's words are 500 pounds.
So true.
It's not diminishing mom's role.
Nope.
Or making dad's role better. It's just the nature of it. It's 100 pounds, mom says, that's still weighty. But dad, your words.
Oh, there's so much we could go into then on that.
Way so much. And so when I said what I said, it was like, you're putting a lot of weight on their shoulders. When I'm telling them, hey, are you really, like one day this week they came back and they were both talking about being hurt. And I always think it's sketchy when like siblings get hurt at the same time. It feels like, what, what's the deal? They're like, yeah, we had to run a different deal today. I was like, were you the only two? Yes, we were. I'm like, come on, boys. Were you really hurt? Are you sore? Come on, let's suck it up. Let's go. And we just had a big conversation on it. So I know I push hard, but now it's on the other side. They're now both going, I'm never going to tell the coach I hurt at all. So, right, they take my words, 500 pounds, and no longer am I going to tell the coach that I'm hurting here. Now, all of a sudden, now they can be severely injured, right? And it's like, crap, my words are heavy. Sometimes I forget that. But we've got to remember as parents, even if they ignore us, right, especially with teenagers, you can sense that sometimes, well, my kids don't even listen to me. No, they're hearing you. They're processing. Mom, you just put 100 pounds on them with what you said. And Dad, you put 500 pounds on them with what you said. And I think our job is to make their burden light. Just like Jesus says, being a follower of his burden is light. His yoke is light. We need to make it light for our children. So be careful of the words we choose to put on our children and expectations. I believe they need to be there. And I think sometimes it's appropriate to use all the weight you have so they understand how important it is. But just be careful, dads, that when you're being sarcastic and you think they think or they're laughing at you, just make sure they know that you're being funny. Because if not, you just put 500 pounds of negativity on their shoulders and they think you're being serious.
That's good.
Okay, so did we answer the question? Okay, we're going to kick off a podcast. I think we're going to call it Parenting Isn't Hard podcast.
Go and get a lot of people upset.
Great. Well, I want a lot of people watching it so we can help parents. Yes,
Can I say one thing real quick?
No?
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
I was just going to say, like Scott talked about at the very beginning, that, okay, so we talked a lot about parenting today, kids, things like that. But where this applies to those that aren't parents, those that are parents are, like your kids are grown and out of the house, wherever. Something that applies that we talked about earlier today is it's still the constant disciplining self in your life. That if you are a young married, if you are, Lily just found out she's pregnant a little bit ago. Like if you're just getting into the parenting world, whatever, you have teenagers, it still all comes back to your relationship with Jesus and you disciplining yourself in your skin. That will ultimately affect who you are later on when you become a parent, when you have kids around you, whatever. So it applies to everybody today.
Yeah.
Just what we're chatting about.
Yeah, the 20-somethings it would behoove you to work on self now because it'll be easier when you're a parent. Because God uses people to sharpen us. Mm-hmm. And Holly and I joke all the time. Some people, God needs to work things out in their lives, and they only need one child for that.
We needed 8.
8. It took 8 to really, that's how stubborn we are. That's how complicated, that's how much of a mess we are. It takes 8 children. Look at Dwayne. At the moment, they have 3 children, so therefore, the work that God needs to do in their life through their children isn't that much. It only took 3.
Fantastic people.
Dwayne, we're going to end with asking the big question, is it 3 and done, or are we going for 4?
It's 3 and done.
But that's a question mark. I love it.
You don't even. Did you hear how you said that?
I mean, like it's.
Is she pregnant right now?
Who knows? No, not that I know of.
Dwayne, we want to tell you something. She's
Elizabeth?
asked us to tell you on camera. Just
special guest, right? Special,
Yeah,
special
yeah.
announcement.
Yes. She wanted to do it a real creative way.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
3 and done?
3 and done. 3 and done is
Question mark.
is the current plan. Like, I mean, things happen. Crazier things have happened.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. I'm tracking.
So great.
But again, to my point, if it is 3 and done, I do think that God uses children to sharpen us and reveal things in our lives as well. That's what makes parenting somewhat feel difficult. It's like, oh my gosh, I see my shortcomings. So you see them, work on them. Don't go, I'm just flawed and that's just a weakness. No, fix it. So.
Yeah. It is, again, going back to the weighty part. Like it is weighty. Like, because like what am I instilling in my kids? Like, what generational, strongholds am I passing down? So that's really, it's tough, but at the end of the day, and the great thing about, being a Christian is God is the God of new beginnings. Like, he can change people, and the relationship with him is an individual. So, it goes to, hey, I've got to be as responsible as possible with this life that he's entrusted to me. But at the end of the day, like, it's going to be ultimately their decision to follow Jesus. It can't be my decision. And ultimately, like, he's the master. He's the one that's in control of their life. So, that makes, the prayer life is, that's what, should be like, with kids. It's like, okay, hey, how good's your prayer life? Because, yeah.
Oh, and prayer life for, like, it's 2 ways for me, right? It's praying, like, okay, Legend Arnold cross country team. God, use them as a light, protect them. May they avoid temptation, right? So you pray that side for your children. And then it's a prayer for me, God, make me a better parent. I don't know how to parent in this season. I'm overwhelmed with the age or the decisions they have to make and all these things. And so I think I'm going to give one piece of, like, hopefully relief for parents, because we got to make sure we don't own the decisions our children make. Now, we set them up for it, but we are not. We are not their decisions. Meaning, let's go teenage girl, boy gets a girl pregnant, or your daughter gets pregnant. You should not find any embarrassment out of that. Because if you do, that says your identity is wrapped up into the decisions your children make. They are still humans that are making their own decisions and will have their own consequences. It's okay for us to be bummed for them, because we know, or oh no, that's a parenting principle we use around here instead of, I can't believe you did that. It's oh no. It's oh, that is going to make your life a little bit more difficult, complicated. You cheated on the test. Oh, man, that's a bummer. It's going to make that class harder for you, right? Whatever it is. And it should just bum us, because we know that it's an uphill climb, not you've embarrassed me. That's the way wrong, because we're all individuals. That should be a sigh of relief for you, going, oh yeah, I'm going to give them all the necessary pieces of equipment or knowledge to make wise decisions. And if they choose not to, that's between them and God. And hopefully that gives us a little bit of a, yeah, okay. So I remember Holly lost it. She's getting the kids ready as we're going to bolt to church. So she's not in here anymore to fill in the gaps here. But Legend was at preschool, and we get a call that Legend bit somebody. He had a phase of biting people, his siblings and people at school. And I was over the academy, so I was aware of it, but it's not my job to call her, so I didn't get in the middle of it, Dwayne. I just said, okay. And so she gets the call. she picks up Legend, and now she goes into the bathroom, and I follow her in the bathroom because she's bawling. So I'm like, hey, anybody in here? She's like, no, it's just me. And she's crying. He's got Legend. She's like, I can't believe he bit another child and left teeth marks, and you should see the mark on that child. What kind of children are we raising? And she took it all personal. She's like, I'm a horrible mom. I've raised a biter. And I laughed. I was like, I literally was like, are you kidding? Like, we're not having biting lessons at the house. We're not teaching him to do this, right, Dwayne? I was like, you can't own this. He made the decision to do it. There are consequences. And yes, because we are the owners of this child, we get pulled into it. Now, somebody's going to want to shoot a whole bunch of holes in it and go, no, I think a child does something really wrong and breaks the law. Parents should be held liable to that. Or I do think there's room for that. And there's a whole nother podcast we could do. And we will do. We're going to get into all those things, Dwayne. When the studio gets done, Dwayne, and all those things, when it's easy, just turn the lights on and it's warm all the time or cool. We'll be doing a parenting podcast that will drop through, not on either one of our YouTube channels. We're going to start something totally new and try to help parents parent and raise children that love Jesus.
There's a lot of different voices out there that's telling us that, hey, like going back to the asking the kid permission to change their diaper. It's like the world is crazy. It's crazy. That's the best I can say. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I could go down a whole nother rabbit trail of information in Minnesota that we were just hearing about the public schools, but we don't got time. But it's wild. And if those are the things you're listening to more than somebody pointing, hey, no, it's possible to raise children upstream, not downstream, going with the flow, and still produce somebody that's going to do great things, that's our hopes, to inspire parents to re-engage or has expectations to engage when you are a parent. Kayla Lilly, congratulations. As Holly said it, I saw it in the congratulations. That's pretty exciting news. I love it when
April 1st is my dad's birthday as well. So,
Ooh.
April Fool's, baby.
You know what? That'd be a pretty fun birthday. One birthday date that I would never really want to have or have a child on is leap year. I don't know why. It always seems like the worst one. Because you only get to do that, like if you're born on the 29th. Now you're choosing most of the time what
would you choose, the 28th or the 1st?
I think I'd move it around every year just to be crazy. Okay, let's wrap this up. We're going to be late to the other location. We just were talking a long time. Holly, you're long-winded. Thanks for being with us today. You're beautiful. All the kids are loaded up. Car started. It doesn't seem like anything's wrong with that scenario. Little children in a car that started. It's not backing up.
They're all buckled.
They're all buckled, yeah. There
was strict instruction, do not get out of your seat.
Do not get out of your seat. Okay, let me pray. Jesus, I for that, the things that need to stick for the parents may be sticky. The things that they need to throw out and don't take out of here, may they not. But may we help in every phase there. Thank you for Dwayne making time to hang with us as he's traveling this weekend. I pray that we're helping people. And thank you so much for what you're doing through this church here online and here in Minnesota. What an honor to be able to be a part of your kingdom work. Jesus, we love you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
We have got a lot of upcoming events that are going to be announced next week. We got a great fall that's happening, a lot of things that you could participate in and join in, all the fun. So you don't want to miss next week as we download a lot of upcoming events. Next week is Unlock Church's 8th birthday, turning 8 years old. We've been around 8 years, and so we're going to celebrate that next week, which would be pretty cool. And then if you would like to partner with us in your tithes and offerings, here's how you can do that. It's really simple. Text the number 77977, the word unlock in the text, and then it will send you another text that you follow through and give. You can go to unlockchurch.com/give to give as well. Tithes and offerings are part of being in a relationship with Jesus. We thank you for all of those that are doing those things. You are helping Unlock Church do what we do, and you're being faithful in what God's asked you to do. We love all of you. Dwayne, have a great Labor Day. Those in the United States, have a great Labor Day. Dwayne, we will see you. I'll see you in person soon. Very soon. Yes.
Yep.
We should probably talk about flights and stuff. Now that, yeah. I forgot. Well, I didn't forget we looked this week, but we'll talk.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, next week.
Bye, guys.
Hey, next week, purple and gold, Dwayne. Purple and gold. You got it, right? It's game day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, game day.
Okay. Okay, everybody. We love you. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Adios. Bye.